Right, guys, welcome again to our session. We're going to talk today about injury prevention to start with, and what strategies we might choose to use within our conditioning program to help prevent injuries, and recognizing the importance of that actually for you guys to be fit to perform week in, week out and available for selection. So for me as a conditioning coach, and those of you who know me will know that conditioning for me dovetails both injury prevention and performance, and it's really important that you're not carrying niggles. We can prevent any niggles and keep you fit to perform and robust and resilient and available for selection week in, week out. So that for me, it doesn't have to be a separate necessarily rehabilitation or pre-participation preventative strength program. For me, it kind of all works together, but selecting the right exercises to ensure that you're fit to perform and you're robust as part of your conditioning program is really important. So I think that's a key metric really to be a high performing match official and to be available each week. So I think considering travel, we've spoken about travel in a few of the other themes, workload, training and recovery, they all kind of go in the injury prevention strategy, knowing that, as Hamish said before, when you travel, you might sit in a car for 3 hours, or Adam mentioned the same as well, and get out and you've got to do your mobility, some muscle release work, maybe some neural slumps to relieve the body. And again, that's about body awareness, which is really, really important, that you guys know your bodies, know what you need to do when you travel, when you arrive at a facility. Kind of having a strategy that works for you is really, really important with that. So I think knowing what you need to throw upon your body to be the best that it can be in performance and in injury prevention is really important. I guess one thing I'd like to talk about with everybody is what each of you have gone through as far as injury. So I know that a couple of you have had recent injuries to deal with, but how do you cope physically with the rehab pathway, and also mentally with knowing that you're not available for matches? You've got to kind of have a bit of downtime before you're available for selection again. How do you each kind of cope with that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of injury wise and how you deal with it, or how I deal with it, I always get increasingly frustrated when I get myself injured. And from my injury side of things, it's mostly been soft tissues. So calves, hamstrings, and what have you. So it's always a frustration when that happens. But it's your body telling you that something's not quite right. Either that's functionality and how you're moving, movement patterns, or you're loading, or something you've done previously or haven't done previously, let's say, is causing you an issue. So when I'm looking to come back from injuries, I have, with us being remote, compared to some of the full-time lads and lasses, I have my own physio that I work with up here in the northeast, and go and see him relatively regularly. I try and make a habit of going to see him weekly, just so he can keep maintenance on my body and make sure that if there is any potential injuries, they are prevented at the earliest opportunity, and treating the cause rather than the effect, because the effect takes a lot longer and puts you out of action, as you said, Al, for sometimes up to 6 weeks or more potentially. So it's just making sure you're proactive with your body management to help prevent those injuries. So in terms of as I said, with my history of soft tissue, a lot of it stemmed from neural issues with my lower back, which I think a lot of people who will potentially be watching this will have a sort of similarity, where they sit for a long time in an office-based environment for sometimes up to 8+ hours a day, and then they're expecting the body to be able to function as an athlete running around, chasing the ball around for 80 minutes on a weekend, where they've been sitting for 40+ hours during the week. So it's just making sure that you do that prep work to make sure your body's available and ready to do what it needs to on a weekend. And that's a daily thing. I try and get a routine of it by doing mobility in the morning when I get up, just for 10-15 minutes. So it's something, I think we spoke last time when Nikki was talking about it, and she said, I want to do 10 squats. If it's only that, I'll do it. But I've done something rather than I've done nothing. So 10 minutes of mobility is better than 0 minutes of mobility. Ideally, we'd be doing it more if we had the time, but you've got to fit it into your diary.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, isn't it? The transition, and a lot of people, as you say, in the community game would probably transition from being a player to being a match official or referee, you know, within their society or locally in their community. And it's a different, you know, a lot more running based activity as a match official that you've got to transition into. You know, obviously it's non-contact most of the time, although I have seen referees get slammed. But
tell that to Barnsley.
But yeah, it's you've obviously got to transition into probably more. And again, there's a lot of you guys who used to play. Also, Carl is a good example of, from more recent times, player to match official. So I think that change in training philosophy and recognizing the importance of being fit to perform each week with that running volume, that running load, that high intensity, high speed, intermittent running, you know, is really, and that, you know, is really important to the longevity of your career as a match official.
Carl Dixon obviously had 2 years recovery on the bench, so he was obviously not quite the same as everyone else. But I've missed quite a few games through illness before, not through injury, and even that it takes a toll, because like the mindset behind taking yourself off a game or admitting that you can't do it is such a difficult one, or it certainly was for me. And my first ever championship appointment was Nottingham Hartpury, and I was super ill the week building up to it, and I was desperate to referee this game. And I knew getting to Wednesday, Thursday, I was starting to feel better, but I had no energy. I hadn't trained, I hadn't done anything. And unfortunately, I had to watch Hamish take my game instead. And he did a really good job. But yeah, it was I was so annoyed. But looking back on it, I would never have been able to perform in that game, and it would probably have done my career more harm than it would have done good to take that appointment, because I just wouldn't have been at the races. So yeah, you make a really good point. They will come round again, and you're never going to be persecuted because you've had a day off for injury or illness. So
as everyone's alluded to, last season I blew my knee out and tore my hamstring at the same time, and yeah, it was. I've had multiple injuries, but never one where I was like, oh, this could be like a year. You know, this could have been a really long time out. And at first, I think I didn't take it very well, just because you're just watching everyone having fun, you know, being active out with as a group, and everyone being successful and just progressing. And when you're the only one on your own sat there, you know, looking towards all this rehab, it's you know, it's quite demoralizing. But then, you know, you just had to accept it, and then get a plan in place, and then be diligent with it. And then once I started seeing results, luckily I heal really quickly. So with some amazing support through the physios and through strength and conditioning, you know, I managed to see results quite quickly. And then, you know, when you're sat there going, oh, I think I can go, you know, like I can go harder, and you just go, no, just, you know, that was great for today. Let's take it a little bit harder next time, and not rush it, because the last thing you want to do is to, you know, re-injure it. So, you know, once I just accepted that, you know, relaxed, looked through the plan, and then just got into it, you know, it was good. And then, you know, I've come back the same, if not stronger, in certain aspects as well. And also just a greater appreciation to, I'm getting older now, so I can't do what all the things I used to. So now it just means I've got to be smart with my training, and just you know, anything we do, I want it to be like job specific. So if there's something that I know that I might put myself at unnecessary risk, I'll try and avoid it. And it doesn't mean I can't have fun. It just means that, you know, just got to make smart decisions. And yeah, I'll definitely better